school than there are men. And the legal profession has changed and adapted, and now the legal profession is a wonderful place for women to have a career, either as a lawyer or a paralegal. There really are some tremendous opportunities there. So that's why I would encourage you to possibly consider a career in law.
So you were all appointed by different governors. Judge Bruns, was there any advantage that came from being a graduate of Kansas City, Kansas Community College? With Sam Brownback?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. No, the way we are selected is there's a nominating commission made up of an equal number of lay people and an equal number of lawyers, and they select 3 candidates. They send your name to the governor, and then they do background searches and whatever on you. A unique thing on mine is I was nominated with 2 excellent attorneys. One was a trial court judge, just like I was, who went to Harvard. And I knew I couldn't match up Harvard, you know, but when I talked to the governor, I pointed out I went to Kansas City, Kansas Community College, and I thought that was an advantage to learning how to relate to people in the real world. Had I went to Harvard, I probably would have played that up, but I knew I knew I didn't have that option. So, but I think it is an advantage to, if you're able as a judge to relate to people where they're at in the real world.
Okay, and one last question. I think, of course, lawyers say that, and you know it isn't true, right? I mean, I heard it from all 3 of you. But I want to bring this back to Constitution Day. And someone asked the question about black letter law, and EWA pulled out the Constitution, and it is a very small document, but we see a lot of case law come out of it. Talk to us about judicial interpretation, especially as it relates to the Constitution. They're all looking at me like, you didn't tell us that you were going to ask that.
Just a couple points. There are very few countries in the world that have a governing document like our Constitution that have gone 200 years or more. So our document is very, very unique. The fact of the matter is it is very small. It's not a lot of writing in it, and a lot of that writing, of course, occurred at a very different age. What we do as judges is attempt to give some life, some relevance to the Constitution today, because you have to remember that back in the days when the Constitution was passed, they didn't have cars, didn't have the internet, didn't have any of these things. And sometimes it's a little amusing to me, people who say, well, you need to strictly interpret the Constitution. Okay. Well, what am I supposed to do when there's an allegation that there are satellites that maybe the government has that is listening to every cell phone and every email and tweet that I'm giving, and there's no probable cause I've committed a crime? Should I be concerned about that? Does the Constitution say I have a right to privacy? Does the Constitution guarantee me under the 4th Amendment my right against unreasonable searches and seizures? Well, James Madison and those good old boys didn't have any concept of that type of invasion, governmental action on an individual, because it didn't exist when they were there. So it's up to judges to take a look at the principles espoused in the Constitution and see how courts over the years have interpreted them, and then come to a reasonable interpretation of the Constitution from that.
The demise of the Soviet Republic, the USSR, occurred some time ago, but I've always remembered that one of the most beautiful, one of the most attractive constitutions in the world came from the USSR. It is a wonderful sounding document of human rights, and we all know that there weren't many human rights in the Soviet Union. And my point is that in most countries, a constitution is a piece of paper. It's a parchment. It's a dead scroll. that doesn't have a lot of impact on the lives of the people that live in a particular country. But in our country, one of the great things that happened when the document was struck by our founders is they made it the supreme law of the land. And all of our laws flow from that document, together with the Bill of Rights, which the people insisted be included with the Constitution before it was passed and effective. So my point is that it's an amazing document because it is the supreme law of the land, a living document that continues to this day, and it would have been impossible for that to have happened unless we recognized that it is subject to interpretation based upon what's happening in our lives today. So of course it requires interpretation.
I kind of view the Constitution as a contract between we the people and our government. And it's our job as judges to try to apply the terms of that contract. And to me, if we do that, we don't have to worry about exactly what it meant to say originally, because as Judge Boozer pointed out, and Judge Knudsen, there are things that change. But how does that language apply in today's world?
Awesome. Thank you. I'm Janet Velasquez. I'm a professor here at the school, and on behalf of the committee and the school, we just want to thank you very much for being here. And so I think it would be appropriate now to give them a round of applause.
And we would like to thank you and the entire committee, President, and everybody out here that's listened to us. Go out and do good things, and if you have any questions you want to ask us, we'll stick around here for a couple minutes.
Awesome. Thank you very much.